Welcome to another episode of touring the AFC South. Of course, we're doing a little bit of impromptu because, so Bleacher Report gave us some nice, great news involving Kyle Pitts and Will Levis. I'll tell you this: we're going to get into those trade scenarios and one particular trade scenario when it comes to the Titans and the Falcons in just 1 second. But I do have to introduce who I'm on the show with on this episode. Of course, somebody who definitely knows the ins and outs of the Atlanta Falcons is going to give you everything Atlanta sports and then some. I got to introduce him, my guy, Antwon Smitty Smith. What's going on, man?
Mike P, what's good, my dog? Love what you've been doing with the show, man. Love what you've been doing with the show.
Thank you, man. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. We had a crossover episode last time, right?
Right.
Yeah, man. But had to bring you back on because, man, the news involved the Atlanta Falcons, and I was like, hold up, we got to talk about it.
Facts.
But for those that don't know, Bleacher Report put out a list of teams and trades when it comes to Kyle Pitts this offseason, of course, before the season starts. For those that aren't aware, Kyle Pitts is a free agent after this season. So if that's the case, you might want to try to get something for him. So, just before we get into that, of course, got to say what's up to all the people that are jumping in the inbox here. Let's see. Go 1 second. If I can reach out to them, if my screen will act right. You know how the screen want to act funny sometimes. You know how that do.
Oh boy, StreamYard.
Man, does it?
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Crazy Country Boy said, "What's good, everyone?" Of course, we got Darham 2414. What's up, fam? Tony Wright. What's up, gents? Of course, we got a few other questions popping up saying somebody saying why trade Pitts now? We're gonna get into that one. Somebody asked, do we really want to re-sign Pitts to a big contract? We're gonna get into that too. And of course, I would consider trading Pitts to the Titans for Titans. We're gonna get into that one as well. But hey, hold on for 1 second, Keith. We got you. Just we gotta talk about the previous, the other trade options as well.
Right.
Now I'm gonna start off with this one, man. Now this one, I turned my nose up at. You had the Patriots sending a 2026 third and fourth round pick and tight end Austin Hooper to the Falcons for Kyle Pitts.
Nope, don't want that. Don't want Hooper back. That's old news.
That was bad. I was like sitting there. I was like, did he play there before? And they didn't like him. So
I would have been fine with just the draft picks. We didn't have to have Hooper because I feel like, we'll get into it. But yeah, I turned out.
You can talk about Hooper. Go ahead. And say what you got to say.
Now, Hooper's old news, man. He probably got a little left in the tank, but it's a younger tight end. It's an undrafted free agent that I'm looking at. That's getting rave reviews in rookie mini counts, but we'll get into that, like I said.
Okay,
but that's enough.
All right, got you. Now the next one is for the Commanders. The Commanders get Kyle Pitts. The Falcons get a 2026 third round pick and a 2027 third round pick. What you think, Smitty?
I can roll with that. He ends up with Dan Quinn. I could definitely see that one. They need another weapon to go along with McLaren. I think they added another wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. But to give Jay Daniels more weapons, Debo Samuel, exactly. To give him one more weapon at tight end position, something they haven't had really since Jordan Davis, and there's no shot to Zach Ertz. But I'm talking about at a young age. You got to remember Pitts is still on the 25. So I would move with that trade. 2 third round picks. Yeah, definitely.
I tell you what, the Commanders are wheeling and dealing, and they surely are doling out those draft picks if that's the case and this happens. But the next one would be the Rams. They would be the Falcons will receive a 2026 first round draft pick. The Rams would receive Pitts, a 2026 second, and a third round pick. What you think, man?
If you leave out that third round pick, I would go for it. And we know Sean McVay loves his tight ends. You talk about Jared Everett with Jared Goff back in the day. You look at Tyler Higbee. Yeah, he loves his tight.
Mhm.
So that would be a good fit in Matthew Stafford, man. Even after he's gone, you still have Pitts at 25. But the thing is, who will sign him to a new deal? That is the $1 million question. All these trades, who is willing
Mhm.
to put forth that new contract? Now, Washington has the money. I know they do.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Washington to me would be the ideal spot.
But we do have a couple scenarios as well.
Yeah,
We got
but
one with the
I'm just
Browns. You know,
no. I'm gonna say no right
you
off
don't
the
want
jump.
you don't want
No.
Craig Newsom, man. You don't want Craig Newsom the second down there.
I would take Craig. I would take Greg Newsom. Yeah, I would take him. But I'm looking at what they have on offense. They have a question mark at quarterback. They already have paid David Njoku at tight end. Are you really going to run two tight end sets with two tight ends that really are not good at blocking? I just don't see that.
Yeah,
So
very interesting. Very interesting
yeah,
one to me as well. I didn't see that one either. And then the last one is Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins to the Steelers
wow,
for
two
a
of them.
2026 second and fifth round pick and the 2027 fourth round pick. Honestly, I don't think that's enough for those two guys, but that's
No, it's
just
not
me.
enough. You would have to throw in a player, a defensive player. I would, yeah. Um, you know what? I would take the Marvin Leo. Since he hadn't done good in Pittsburgh, I feel like a change of scenery for him as well. The former draft pick out of Texas A&M, I think he would be a good fit in this 3-4 defense. And sometimes, like I said, change of scenery, and he fits the scheme to me. It's just the way Pittsburgh run their 3-4. They're with the zone blitzing, which means sometimes he has to drop back in coverage. That's just something he isn't good at. He's a run stopping
Yeah,
guy.
like a fish out of water, man. Like a fish out
Right.
of water. But of course, let's get to the main event. The one that caught my attention. The one trade this I will say it's between the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons. The trade would have Kyle Pitts coming to the Tennessee Titans. The Falcons will be getting Will Levis, a 2026 third round pick, and a 2026 seventh round pick. Now, I saw this and I'm looking at this from both sides, and I'm just kind of like shaking my head. But we're gonna start with Levis going to the Falcons. Now, I would say for him it would be a fresh start. You get
Right.
a couple picks to go along with him, and he doesn't. You basically trot him out there or have him there for 1 year to see if he can be the backup. If he's not, then he's a free agent and he's free to go. Same thing with
Right.
Pitts, be free agent, free to go. Um, what are your thoughts on just that scenario? I mean, honestly, I'll be honest, I don't necessarily see it happening, but it's definitely something interesting to kind of think on potentially. You have another young quarterback that's there, and you back him up
Right.
with another young quarterback. And honestly, I don't think Pitts. I'm sorry, I don't think that. I'm losing my mind. Penix. I
We
don't
are
think
left
Penix
Penix. Yeah. Yeah.
is. I don't think Penix is threatened by Levis at all. Being a quarterback there at all. I mean, what are your thoughts on just Levis being in the black and red in Atlanta?
Honestly, I really don't have a problem with it. Like you say, it's a 1 year tryout, and the positive thing about it, I think, in the type offense that Zach Robinson runs, is kind of quarterback friendly, so he could grow into it. And he actually needs somebody that takes time out with him to teach him the position. In Tennessee, it was run first. Always has been, probably always will be. Treylon Burks was a bust. You look at a lot of losses that they had the last 2 years actually. So Will Levis has lost a lot. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. So Will Levis needs to probably find a new spot, fresh, change of scenery as well. Get under a quarterback, in the West Coast style offense, because I think that fits his skill set to a T. He also can use his legs, which is a good thing. Something that Michael Penix could do if he needs to. But you put him behind a veteran offensive line as well in Atlanta. So I mean, it's all advantages for Will Levis. With the draft picks, third and seventh round, I can live with that, because I think a third round is what they should get for Pitts. Mainly because of the last 2 seasons, he hadn't busted 700 yards. So I think you're getting away. You're getting away scot free, because you get a seventh round pick, which to me is just an added incentive. So I would love this trade, man, because fresh start for both of these guys, and I think uh, Pitts in Tennessee, I think he can. I think he can grow out there. He just needs a fresh start, man, because I just don't think he's going to cut it in Atlanta anymore. And I'm not being mean, but I doubt if it happens. But I just think it's time for a fresh change of scenery.
I hear you there. Now, I will say with sticking to Levis, it'll be interesting if he ends up down there. Of course, like we mentioned, it'd be for just one more year, and then also with Levis, or it actually would be with maybe 2 more years, but I don't know, maybe it's mistaken. But either way it goes, he's not really threatening Michael Penix Jr. as a starting quarterback. And then also, but one thing I will throw at you, he is a guy that can be pretty doggone reckless when he is in there,
Yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
Now, I know plenty of people remember him falling to the ground and throwing it underhanded to the Bears cornerback for them to run in for the touchdown. I'm pretty sure people remember that. I'm pretty sure people remember when he was scrambling out and he was falling to the ground and tried to shuffle it to Tony Pollard, which resulted in the fumble. And Tony Pollard didn't even know the football was coming to him. So, in those instances, I'm like, I don't know what, if you're going to feel comfortable with him as a backup if Michael Penix gets hurt. That could be rough.
That could be rough, but think about this.
Mhm.
In Atlanta, I talked about the offensive line. I have yet to talk about the run game. Atlanta predicates their offense off the run game. If they can run the football effectively and make his throws easier, I think he'll be fine. And see, that's the thing, is simplifying the playbook for a guy like Will Levis, who still is trying to gain his traction in the NFL. So with a strong run game to go along with a young quarterback and a good offensive line, I think that bodes well for Will Levis. So Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, two-headed monsters. I would be fine with it because, like I said, with Zach Robinson, he can find a way to simplify the playbook. Then you have Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. You have undrafted rookies who I think will make the team, and Nick Nash, Casey Washington, who they have last year. So I think that Falcons have weapons, man. So if a young quarterback was to have to step into the starting role, I think he'll be fine, man, with what the Atlanta has.
Okay. All right. Now, of course, you did start to mention a little bit more about Pitts and how he would fit in Nashville with the Tennessee Titans. Of course, you mentioned a fresh start. He'd be another weapon for the Tennessee Titans. Right now, Calvin Ridley is your number one weapon right now. You've got a couple young guys in Alec Aomanor, a rookie from Stanford. For those that don't remember, 294 yards is the key number. He got that. That's how many yards he got to get going against Travis Hunter when he was playing for Stanford versus Colorado, by the way. And also you have Xavier Restrepo, who is of course, very talented slot guy. Didn't run very fast at the combine or at the Miami Run Pro Day, but still is a very dangerous weapon and has chemistry with Cam Ward. You got Shamir DK, who was a leading wide receiver for the Florida Gators last year, more of a slot guy perhaps. And of course, you had your Van Jeffersons and your other guys there. I would say it's not necessarily a star-studded lineup of people, but you do have a lot of rookies there that could potentially have some growth as well. Pitts would fall right in line with being a guy that could, potentially have some growth here with the Tennessee Titans. Also, at the tight end position, you have a lot of inconsistencies there in terms of the starting tight end with Chig Okonkwo. The thing is with him is he's a guy that can make some things happen, but in every game you watch him play, he's gonna have that one drop, and you're just like, okay, what happened here? And I remember you saying about them being more of a run style offense. I will tell you that that has actually changed over the last year with Callahan. They're actually focusing a little bit more on the actually passing and kind of being a little bit more even offense as opposed to being an offense that's just focused on the run game, which I thought was really good. I mean, honestly, the more he's here, the more they're going to be able to grow in that aspect and become a more balanced offense. But that's one thing I thought about.
You talked about notoriety, and you look at Ridley and Pitts played together in Atlanta for a little while. So you get those two on the field together. I think they can rub off on the younger players and guide them through the playbook or what they're going to expect, and it helps Cam Ward as well to get another veteran receiver. So I think in that aspect it works for Pitts. But like you said, they're trying to with Callahan, they're trying to turn into a more pass happy offense with a quarterback like Cam Ward who can sling the ball all over the field, but they're going to have to give him time to grow. So they're going to have to find a way to run the football and, control the clock just a little bit to get him, time to grow in this system. So, Pitts and Ridley playing together in Atlanta, I think that bodes well for Cam Ward at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can see it potentially. I could see it potentially, but I do. The bad parts of this is the inconsistency. That's the part that I'm like, I don't know. And already the Titans have a tight end that they worry about with inconsistency in Chig Okonkwo. And then also another thing I mentioned is the last couple of years they've kind of invested in the tight end with Josh Wiley. They drafted him, and then they also drafted Gunnar Helm this year out of the University of Texas. So They are pretty deep at the tight end position. So I was like, maybe you could throw Kyle Pitts out there a little bit and kind of mix him in as a wide receiver and a tight end perhaps. But, that would be an interesting mix as well. And then, it just to me, with giving up picks, listening to the Titans GM Mike Borgonzi, he wants to build with picks, and he doesn't want to do a lot of trades if he doesn't have to.
Never wrong with that.
So he kind of envisions. I would say he's more of a guy that is envisions building a team just like Green Bay does, with picks and picks and picks, and then sprinkle a free agent, and then picks and picks and picks and sprinkle a free agent. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know if he'd make that big of a jump to get Kyle Pitts. However, if he got him for the right price, I think he would do it. Now, do I think Will Levis will get traded before the season starts? Yes, I do think he is going to get traded before the season starts, because you have quarterbacks get injured in preseason and all those different things. But do I think it'd be to the Falcons for Pitts? I'm a little iffy there, but it's always interesting to talk about and kind of visit as well, because hey, it could happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some pointers that I think the only problem that I would have with Will Levis, like you said, inconsistencies in passing, like you said, that bad pass he threw, decision making. But getting in the film room under a new coach, I think it could work. But I would actually love for the Falcons to go out and get a veteran guy. If they trade Kirk Cousins, a guy like a Tyrod Taylor, or someone of that nature who kind of knows, what Penix is going through as side of pocket passer / mobile quarterback, a Teddy Bridgewater, someone like that. So I could see Will Levis, but inconsistent. He give me Daniel Jones vibes, if that makes sense. When Daniel Jones, when he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's pathetic. So I could see Will Levis, and I think, like I said, in this offense, with what they have running wise, it could work. But at the end of the day, man, I don't see it happening. I think the Falcons bring in a veteran if they traded Kirk Cousins. If not, Kirk Cousins is going to be the quarterback going forward as the backup, or they could go out and sign another veteran. Who knows? But again, I don't see it. But it's fun to talk about.
Definitely. We got some comments here. We said one comment, S3T said, I'm gonna need Simmons if y'all get Pitts. And yeah, that's shooting way over the moon right there. That's
way too much. I'm gonna tell you, Simmons worth 2 first-round picks still after all these years.
It said somebody said, get that MF Pitts out of here. I'm like,
Debo, what's up, man?
Debo, let them know. Let's see who else we got. Let's see. We could move on
from Kyle. Oh wait. He trying to be funny. Yeah.
Okay. Said Kyle Pitts. Good gracious. Let's see. What's the other one? Oh, here's an interesting comment. The problem with Levis is he thinks he's a starter. I think ego may bleed through and pose a problem in the locker room. Now, I will address that.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Dan, shout out to you, Dan. Dan, one of my real ones, man. Dan, tell it like it is.
let me address that one with Dan. Okay. Well, Levis does prepare himself like he is a starter and adjusted, different things. But I will say he's a team player. Does he think he's a starter in his mind? Yeah, he's gonna think that way. But ultimately, he is a guy that is a team player. He's gonna do what he needs to do for the team. So I would say I don't think you'd have any problems there out of him in the locker room.
Yeah, if he's a team player, that's why I say he'll be fine in that line if he's a team player. Like I said, you get up under offensive coordinator such as a Zach Robinson, who came up under the Sean McVay tree. He'll be fine.
Let's see what else we got. Trade Kyle Pitts. Had Kyle quits. Wow. Hasn't done anything since his first year. Wow.
Vontae, come on, man.
Oh boy, let's see. Now this one would be illegal if it happened. Pitts can go. That would be illegal.
It's crazy, Mike. Because hey, look, Mike, I'm telling you, anybody that follow me in this chat and they know me, that is the first team I called when I first said something about trading Kyle Pitts. Why? Because Travis Kelce is on the final leg of his career, and they're going to need a replacement. Why not go out and get a guy that's taller, more athletic, faster, that could probably stretch the field like Tyreek Hill used to? And yeah, I said Tyreek Hill because if you 6'6", run a 4.4 and a defensive back or safety or linebacker or cornerback can't check you, why not? That's all we do is retool in Kansas City, right? So hey, it happens.
Right. I will say this. Me and you were thinking on the same page because I surely said the Chiefs, the first team as well. Somebody said, I'll take a washing machine for Kyle Pitts at this point. Big Debo is having fun time. He's having big fun tonight, like Vanessa on the Cosby Show. He's having big fun.
Debo, throw some Tide Pods in there while you going at it.
Okay, this is another one. Pitts should get reps in the slot. I think they've tried that before,
he played mostly in the slot. He played in line and he played the slot. He lined them, I think, 60-some% in the slot last year. So yeah, that's his spot anyway. So to me, he's been playing receiver all along. Now he does line up in line, but the problem is he sucks at blocking. So it doesn't make sense.
I will say though that Callahan does do well with receiving tight ends.
Yes, he does.
That's another thing. He does well with receiving tight ends.
And I remember when he was with the Bucks, it was this guy named Joe Jurevicius who had been traveling around the NFL, but in that offense, he seemed like a superstar. So he's done his work over the years. So yeah, shout out to him.
And we see Pitts can go to the 49ers or Dolphins. That's and I'm trying to pronounce the name right, so don't kill me. Anikemi
Udoko. Yeah. That's why I just call it Udoko. Yeah. Udoko.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I just say all the time.
We got somebody checking in. Tiffany Rains said, hello, fam, just checking in. Hope you all having a great Saturday.
One of my number one followers.
Thanks. There we go. Let's see. Oh, goodness. This comment right here by Dan Johnson. Wow. If you want a veteran, what about Kevin? I think his career is over.
Look, you don't want that.
He's done at this point.
Yeah, I think he's done at this point. You don't want that PR nightmare, trust me, because that's all he's going to be.
Let's see. Let's see any more comments. Let's see. Boy, I can't put that comment up there. I want to, but I can't. Let's see. Any more comments to want to talk about? Let's see. Yep, somebody else agreed with us on Pitts to
shout out my big bro John Higgins. Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was there when I said it. Wow. Yeah, he was there when I said it.
Here's another one. Stetson Bennett the fourth would be great as a backup.
I've said that too. Because hey man, look, what he did at Georgia was remarkable. All he needed is a chance. He wasn't gonna get into LA because they were looking at a veteran all along. As a backup or as a third string, I could see him learn the ropes. Yeah, he's getting up in age, but hey, look, he's a winner. That's what I'm looking at. He's a winner.
All I can say is, man, when he about like 27 when he hit the pros, man. But
he's about 26, 27. But hey, Chris Wanky was what, damn near 30. So
yeah, that's true. Let's see. What else we got on here? We got any other things want to throw out there? Another Stetson Bennett comment. Let's see here.
I seen one. I seen one
Wow.
earlier. My boy Tony Wright said. He said if he goes somewhere else, he's going to shine. If he lands in the right offense, he possibly could. Because
That's true.
sometimes it's just all about offensive fit. So hey, and like I said, the Rams would be perfect because of what Matt Vay does with tight ends.
Well, this comment right here. Wow, Vontae Neal. Why can't y'all accept that the man's a bust? We don't need to be giving top dollar to someone who ain't even gonna try. I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
Ooh. That's all
Well,
I can say
I'm
on that one.
gonna say it. I'm gonna say this, and he brought up a great point on Cam Newton's show. This is his second year going, his first offseason going into the offseason with the same quarterback. His first couple after he lost Matt Ryan, then you add Mariota and Ritter, and then Ritter and Heineke, and then last year Kirk Cousins. So hey, this may be something to watch. If he can get in the film room with Mike Penix and they can come up with a game plan, I could see it. I could see it working. Because like I said, it's going to be if or. Are you going to pay him or are you going to trade him? It's going to be either or, because if he makes it to the end of the season as a Falcon, 9 times out of 10, he's not going to come back because he's probably going to want about $15 million, and he hasn't played up to that standard yet. So, I mean, it's either or. Make your bed, sleep in it.
That's true. Well, Smitty, man, we've reached the end of the show, man. That was a good one, man. Talking about man, Levis for Pitts, man. I mean, I don't think it'll happen, but it was definitely interesting to visit and talk about it.
Oh yeah, all the time. Facts.
Yes, sir. If you can, man, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Find me on Twitter at Fatboy Slim. You see it right there next to Smooth Smitty. And actually, my boy in the chat gave me that nickname. You can find me on Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. I'm putting out daily content, headlines, debate topics, any kind of breaking news, whether it's Falcons or NFL, and all things Atlanta between the Hawks, Braves, and Falcons. So just please check me out. And also, during the regular season, I'm on the NFC South Roundtable. You can find that on YouTube, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. 1 hour show with my guys, TJ, Mr. Bucks Nation. Names is James, and my boy Clay from the Rockstar Report. And that's where you can find me, man. I'm really all over social media because I do it, Mike. I stir it up. I stir the pot.
Well, this is another one that's stirring the pot right here. We have one other thing from Tony Wright before I give my last little parting shots. I said that Tony Wright said I would love to have tight end Jonnu Smith back. I hear Miami is shopping him, and they are definitely shopping him. That would be that just ties it all together because Jonnu Smith is a former Tennessee Titans tight end as well.
Right.
So hey, there we go.
But I actually see him back with Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh, honestly.
I can see that. I can definitely see that because him and Arthur are like this,
like this
that.
From Tennessee to Atlanta, from Miami back to Pittsburgh. I can see it all day long.
Oh yeah, you know it. But yeah, of course, if you don't know who I am, I'm Mike Patton. I'm the host of Touring the AFC South. You can find me on all listening platforms. You can find Touring the AFC South on all listening platforms, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we are there. You can also find me on social media at Twitter at Mike Patton 82. That's MikePatton 82. I like to call it the artist formerly known as Twitter because I will not call it X because the only X I recognize is DMX and Malcolm X. Just to be clear. Of course, on and on Instagram and Threads, you can find me on there at the others THA, not THE _ general _ MP. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Touring the AFC South with my guy, Antwon Smitty Smith. We're out. Peace.